Hi guys, I'm Evie and welcome to Late Night Search with Evie. Okay, let's start over. I posted something recently that has strong language, and I've gotten some feedback on it on why maybe it's not pushing through the algorithm. And I actually want to thank those who told me and to remind me that sources and knowledge and facts is important. So this is why I'm creating this video, just so that you guys know that that I did my research. And instead of letting it spiral, I want to slow it down and explain what I actually mean. I am a bookkeeper. I've been working in accounting since 2010, especially with small businesses and wholesale environments during tight financial periods, and legal trust accounting, where money movement is extremely regulated. So when I look at markets, I don't look at the headlines first. I look at the structure of the structure. I look at the structure of the to its entirely. I also look at the cash flow. I look at the leverage, and I also look at what the incentives are, right? So this video isn't about conspiracy. I'm not a conspiratist. I am actually way opposite of that. I prefer facts, knowledge. I love random facts. Actually, random facts is like my favorite. Sorry, I'm undiagnosed neurodivergent, so I'm not highly on autistic traits, but I do have autistic traits, and I'm sorry, and I have ADHD. So, like I said, this video isn't about conspiracies. It's about systems under stress and how financial systems historically have behaved when uncertainty rises. That's basically it. That's the frame of it. There's nothing to it. And what I found you can't really find with AI unless you know what you're looking for or experience of what you're looking for. I did research and I put it together, and what you see on the screen is what was my research outcome, basically. So I'm not saying I use AI to compose it together. I'm saying that I actually did my research. I did my knowledge. I have my experience in accounting to know that something isn't right now. Please do in the comment, like, subscribe. Um, if not, then let's go over what my findings were, and I'm going to explain what each section meant, and then we'll go from there because I've been trying to record this for the past, I don't know, 10 times. I've been working on this since yesterday just to pull in all the information. Like, I'm not joking, guys. Like, I printed out things so I could go ahead and mark and save in case I needed to. Okay, like, I did my research. And try to put things together. Let's begin. So first I want to talk about the first section. Let's talk about the collapse bluff. It reads, the people currently accused of corruption are the ones claiming that arresting them will crash the market. This is a hostile negotiation tactic designed to keep this public fearful of justice. Now let's talk about what I mean by that first section alone. And I'm going to rename it because I know the original wording was too aggressive, which I went ahead and renamed it to stability versus accountability, right? This is like who's gonna say, yes, we did that. Yes, I did that, basically, right? Sorry, that was just an overstatement on my part. But this is basically the accountability part. I have to admit their wrongdoing or anything like that. So like I said, let's break it down. What I'm really talking about this is, the tension between this, like I said, the tension between the stability and accountability in financial history. This shows up over and over again. So every time when a major institution is in trouble, regulatories are put into difficult positions. Uh, you have to ask yourself, do you move aggressively and risk triggering panic, or do you stabilize the system first and deal with accountability after? We saw this in 2008 with Lehman Brothers. When the Lehman Brothers collapsed, we all know that the markets were frozen and the regulators realized how interconnected everything was. So instead of letting everything domino, like the domino effect, they injected liquidity, meaning they pumped in more money, and they into those institutions, they propped up the institution so that they could stabilize the system first, right? So they gave more money to the institution. So that decision was extremely controversial. A lot of people felt accountability didn't move as quickly as stability moved. And true, we never really covered. Throughout I won't be putting in videos. I'm actually gonna be putting videos in the link below. You guys could go watch the video, support like those YouTube followers. I want to be straight out honest with you guys. I don't know if we're being shadow banned, allegedly, but I've been noticing my algorithm isn't the same. Mornings and evenings, all the older stuff are coming out. Middle days, like all the fresher stuff coming out. What I'm trying to explain by that, because I don't think anyone understands how bad it is, because there are certain words in finance, when put together, you're not able to really find any information, and if you do, it's just, like, really old, like, a year ago, 3, 6, 10 years ago, so, something's up, guys. But let's continue, and, let's remember that, this tension, it's nothing new. It happened again in 2020 during COVID. It happened again in 2023 with when the Silicon Valley Bank, where deposits were guaranteed quickly to prevent contusion, meaning they're not giving enough time to let the checks clear, um, to ensure that there is money on the opposite end of that account, that there was money. So when people deposited in and not waiting for it to clear, and people take out the money prior, so when it bounces, it causes that negative issue, right? Like, you start noticing the pattern where if you continue doing that, you're not going to be able to stabilize it. So you have to stabilize first and then investigate later. So you have to wait till things clear the bank first, and then go and just keep that in mind. That's extremely important to what's going on right now, because some of us notice a change in the crypto after Wednesday. And it's important because we all know that Bondi did her interview, right? And at the end of this video, I'm going to put in some video takes that I think it's important for you guys to reflect and go back and re-listen to what they're saying, because remember, the market's been acting weird, and I'm going to put 2, 3 links down there that could explain more about the market changes, because they would explain it more than I do. I honestly have no idea what crypto is. Like, well, I know the idea of how the money is being transferred on the opposite of end of crypto, but besides, like, the investing part and putting into crypto is I personally don't understand. And this creator, he actually has 3 videos that I'm gonna put the link on that I suggest you guys to watch from 1, 2, and 3, okay, guys? Um, he brings facts, so it's not like I'm saying there's something that we're all noticing has the, finance industry, accounting industry, whatever, we're noticing something that other people, regular people, don't really notice, right? Okay, so let's continue going. Sorry, I'm extremely nervous. Um, so it has to. So again, when you deposit, you have to wait for it to deposit to stabilize your bank account to ensure that everything has been cleared and ensure that nothing is left, nothing is overdraft or anything like that, right? So that doesn't automatically mean that there's corruption, but it means financial systems are fragile when frequent drops, and regulatory tends to prioritize preventing systematic collapse before anything else. So that's the structure behavior I was trying to describe. So again, it's not a secret plot. nothing, it's not hidden coordination. It's just, it's just patterns that you see in crisis and prior history and prior management. If you notice that if you ever work in a company that is basically struggling with finances, they'll never be transparent with you about what's going on. And you have to realize that this administration is different to other administrations. We know that, in my opinion, again, my opinion, we're not running as a government. We're running as a business, and this is how I see it, and this is how my outcome comes in my analytical aspect of it. That's what I'm trying to say is. So again, I'm not trying to do conspiracy theories. I'm just putting my analytical aspect, my knowledge, and what we know, and what I'm going to show you. So whew, okay. Uh, let's keep going. I know I might be rambling now, and I don't want to take much of your time for the reason that I feel like we gotta talk about things, right? And right now we're such a limited of how much we have in our head, and I feel like I don't want to overwhelm you guys because I'm overwhelmed. It took me 10 takes to to finally put this to get the video together, right? But yeah, so that's the first part, the collapse bluff. So that's my take. Okay, so the second thing I meant, and I'm changing the name because the original sounded dramatic, I know. So it's gonna still be the half truth, but human version. And I just want to say that, we never get the full story in real time, right? Just like in true crime, we have to investigate it. We have to find out what happened in order for us to get the story. And that's just how the financial system works at the same time. In public markets, companies report quarterly, their filings, they're disclosing their rules, meetings, but information doesn't come out instantly. Sometimes they are legal limits on what can be said. Sometimes investigations are ongoing. Some things just take time to reconcile, right? And that doesn't automatically mean something shady is happening. It just means that the system releases information in stages. So like, your stages. So from my accounting experience, even inside a company, you don't always have a full picture immediately. You still have to sit down and do your numbers, your calculations, your bank your bank feeds, and then the adjustments get made later. So reports get finalized after the review, and numbers evolved are more like once the review is finalized, numbers have more data. Sorry, numbers evolve has data comes in. So when markets are in distress, that normal information, you have a big gap that feels bigger, and people we start filling in blanks. We're second guessing what if scenarios, right? So that's what I mean. That's what I mean by half truths, and this is what I'm seeing. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go over where I said cleaning the ledger, right? So basically, I'm using a phrase on purpose because it's the closest thing I could describe with my accounting brain. And when a business starts to fail, it's usually not because a tiny thing went wrong. It's mostly because the system got really, really messy and nobody bothered to clean it up, or you just keep hiding it. You keep hiding it, stack it up, stack it up. We're stacking mistakes up, right? And then eventually, like, everything falls apart because nobody ever took accountability to go back and fix it. That's that's what I mean by, the systems get messy. And the worst way to fix this is to slap a band-aid on it and keep the same structure running like nothing happened. And what actually works is boring, but it's effective, right? So you tighten the controls, you improve the transparency. Where what I mean by transparency is that in a company, you have to be completely honest with your employees to make them trust you enough to stay until you break, that patch road that you have, right? And you review decisions that created the risk and you go back and fix it. And then you rebuild the process so the same problem doesn't repeat itself and you put your discipline on making sure it doesn't, right? Let me take a breath. So now I'm not saying this to be, dramatic or anything or political. This isn't accounting is nowhere near political, nor is it dramatic. Well, it could be dramatic when it wants to, right? Like, let's be honest. Accounting is so complicated between different people, between different industries. People run their business different. Like no one is ever the same. We all run our businesses different. We're never the same. And who said it best? Systems are complicated. I'm telling you, you need to go watch, say, a JE interview to kind of help you understand how they're thinking. See, that's why I used mostly his, not mostly his already. I'm telling you, I have years experience of knowledge. I continue learning. If you think I'm getting anything wrong, tell me. Maybe I need uh, more learning to do, I guess. But yeah. So like I said, when stress exposes weakness, you either you do one. You either keep clean up the structure or you keep leading, right? So when I applied this idea to like a bigger system, in this case, I applied it to the financial markets and regulations. It's basically the same logic, guys. Like, stability doesn't come from pretending everything's okay. It comes from clearing the rules, consistent enforcement, accountability that actually changes behavior. And that's all. That's all I mean. Like, by cleaning the ledgers, like, not, you know, no revenge, no collapse, no chaos. Just, it's just a structural cleanup. Nothing to it. Just a system that can actually function once it's clean. That is cleaning up the ledger, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, guys. So let's talk about the section where I had used the words preventing the heist. I'm going to replace them. They're going to be replaced with where the money goes during a crash. Okay, and I'm going to tell you where that money goes, and let's talk about it. Sorry, my hair's in the way. I'm sweating. My dog wants me to continue petting her. Okay. Okay, let's talk about something that always comes up in crypto cash, right? Sorry, just get my water. People ask, uh, where did, sorry. People always ask, where did the money go? And here's the honest answer, guys. Like, it usually doesn't disappear. It moves. And when investors start feeling uncertain whether the economy is stressed, political tension, uh, the rate hikes, whatever, and they shift their money into things they believe are safer. And, that might be cash, treasury bonds, money market funds, and less volatile stocks, like less, hard, like those who love to trade stocks, I guess, or less of those stocks is what I'm to say. So they're not burning the money; they're just repositioning it. So now, here's where I think crypto gets intense, right? Crypto market often runs on higher leverage, and that means people are trading with borrowed money. And when prices start falling, those leverage positions can get liquidated automatically. So, sorry. So if the price drops, some accounts are forced to sell. That forced selling pushes the price down further, and that can trigger more for selling. That's why crashes in high leverage environments feel, I guess, violent in a sense. And it's not always like it's not always some coordinated event. Sometimes it's just mechanics plus fear plus leverage all hitting at once. And it's just it. Just simple, clear um examples are like in 2008 capital flights to treasuries, meaning uh when the banks were falling, I want to say falling, when they were gonna go bankrupt or whatever. Back in 2020 when we had that well, like, we know 2020 and 22. Yeah, just watch the marketing guy, not market the trader stock guy, every what's his name? Everything Monday. You need to watch Everything Monday, so yeah. And again, like I said, I'm gonna post 3 of his last 3 videos, in my opinion, are, like, the most important that came out. So, yeah, so that's basically where the money goes, guys. It's been moved, and we just don't know where. Sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing about where the money goes. So when I say, well, yeah, we don't know where it goes, meaning I don't have any other information after it's been moved outside of, after it's been relocated, after the debits are out. We just don't know where it goes. We have no other proof unless there's someone who can show me financials. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is, when it crashes, the money is moved. We personally, as the public, just don't know where. When I say audit ready, well, sorry, audit reality, I'm not trying to sound dramatic. I'm just trying to explain how I think. Like I said, I've been accounting for a really long time, and when something feels off, it feels off. You immediately assume the worst. You try not to jump into conclusions, and the best thing you could do is just take a step back and slow down, look at what you have. You have to go back to your numbers. You replace you have to retrace the flow that you had and where went wrong. You ask where, and then you ask yourself where the pressure was, right? In business, shows when stress shows up, it usually creates something underneath has been stretched too far, too thin. Maybe leverage, oversight, maybe a risk that wasn't fully managed, and the responsible response was, "Hey, let's panic." Like, I panic sometimes if I'm a human, I make mistakes. I might have put it on a different category, and I do my best not to freak out because, luckily for me, you could trace where you went wrong, and you could trace it in the system. No matter what system you have, most of them have a way to track things, right? Your movement with what you do in the system, and you want to step back and just review. So when I look at like markets right now, I'm not predicting, a collapse. I'm not acting, or I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying, when things start moving, especially really, really fast, and where confidence feels uncertain, like it feels uncertain for me, and the opposing party, it feels very uncertain. And that's usually like the moment you take a closer look at the structure. And that's what I mean by audit reality. Like I said, it's not a conspiracy. You're just reviewing the pressure, exposure, weak spot. And right now, that is that we're at, in my opinion. Let's move on. Okay, so let's go ahead and recap. Recap and question. And I have a some questions for you guys. If you guys would let me give you guys those questions that I asked earlier. Um, so this is where I'm at, right, with this. I'm not saying that I have some secret answer, right, guys? I'm just looking at this the way I look at it has a set of books that feels off. Yeah, you're thinking, you're like, oh, something's off, right? So what we need to do is just slow down, review, and we need to ask better questions. And honestly, I do have a few questions, okay? Um, for the fraud oversight, I'm in a hearing I watched with Bondi on February 11th. I didn't hear a clear breakdown of how fraud oversight is structured right now. That that might I don't know, that might be on me. Maybe I missed something. There's an updated framework or clarification. I generally want to see it. I haven't seen anything that I know of. So if you have it, you please send it over. I would love to see that. Um, the Dow reference, she brought up the Dow in that context, and I found it interesting. Like a lot of us were like, does it what? Why does it matter? And it got me curious. I'm just curious, like, what's the purpose of that? Was like, what was it? I mean, sorry. Was it about signaling economic strength, market confidence, something else? Like why mention it when no one asked? And the crypto direction, guys. Uh, there's been a noticeable like openness towards it. Is that about like innovation, staying competitive globally, regulatory modernization? Like, I don't know, like I like to understand the strategic reason, why we're doing it. I haven't heard a reason. I just know that we're forced to do it. So, yeah. So, like I said, I'm not framing these as accusations. I'm framing them as an audit style questions. As a bookkeeper, someone who works in accounting, who knows about finance. And if I'm missing context, please, I want it. If there's a big bipartisan source out there, perfect. If there's like some official filings, some transcripts, please drop them below. I honestly would love to see them. And yeah, so that's how I approach things. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. If anything I said before felt, intense, that was not my intention. I'm not here to scare anyone. I'm here to like slow things down and look at structure. And I don't claim to know all the answers. I'm looking at patterns the way I've always been trained to, through systems, incentives, and risk. And if you see something I'm missing, please share it. If there are official sources, transcripts, filings, drop them below. I will love the full picture. And if you appreciate the conversation that aren't extreme, just thoughtful, please subscribe. I'm going to keep breaking things down from a structural lens, except for the next video, which is a video recorded last weekend, just didn't get a chance to edit it, but I'll edit it today with this video. I'll post this one first, then the other one. The other one might make you cry, so I hope you still see the other one though. Um, and I'm gonna continue trying my best to spread my knowledge and share this with someone. Please share this with someone who prefers clarity over chaos. And I guess I'll see you guys till next time. And I'll probably put some clips in there for you guys, at Bondi's hearing. And I will be putting links on the YouTube video sources, because it's just a lot to compile, guys. Like, accounting is a huge system. It's a versatile system. It's a complex system. Banking systems are complex. Everything's complex when it comes to money. So I had to do a video. I couldn't just write it all down, because then it would also risk the algorithm not being pushed through. So I apologize if it scared some people. I definitely not my intent. I was just trying to spread knowledge and, trying to work around this algorithm. So, like, you'll probably see a lot of them that have the hashtag please read. If you do, and you see this video, you could direct them to the video. So I do want to appreciate for those who stuck around, and I think my goals for subscribers is at least 100. I have no goal, like, I don't know, 100 at the end of the year. I'm just doing it because for myself, really. I don't have people to vent with. I think a lot of people right now are kind of scared to talk about well, not really like, I don't see this as politics right now. I just see it as a true crime issue that we have. Unfortunately, politics is involved. That's how I see it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it as it is because I'm gonna continue rapping. So I'll see you on the next, guys. Bye.
You just a brief video. It's about 30 seconds. And I'll ask you a couple questions about it.
Hey, you guys are disgusting. I'm from law enforcement. You're disgusting. You are the Nazi. You are the Gestapo. You can't see it. You should chase your pension, right? Pension. Your retirement, right? That's what runs your life. Your retirement. The sad thing is they're not even going to get their pension. And shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on
Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right?
Who was that, Congressman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling, "Kill him," at police officers on January 6th, his name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of Justice.
He does.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the public integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many
You've
people
asked
work?
me a question, but you don't.
How
want
many
to answer.
people work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer
National
your questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many?
I'll answer PIN.
You,
pen will not be
you know what?
weaponized.
You know what?
What's funny about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about this?
Chairman, you know what the answer is, and I think I understand why the Attorney General does not want to answer the question, because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there.
Yeah, I
no
understand
one works
why
there
you don't want to
anymore,
talk about
Madam
Mohammed
Attorney
Solomon
General.
in
So,
your district.
in any event,
who murdered people.
Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted by
I've
the
been
witness?
very generous with allowing extra time when we have these little disputes.
I understand.
You got the time.
I might as well ask the chairman these questions.
I'd be happy
because
to answer some of your questions.
What's profound, the questions I've asked,
the crime in your district.
asked, Mr. Chairman, are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're actually basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions, and the unwillingness of this Attorney General to answer them in good faith. When a member of Congress asks how many people work at the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, and the Attorney General refuses to answer it, it is not a coincidence. It's because she eliminated the team. Why? Because her boss, the President of the United States, is making money hand over fist, $1.4 billion over the course of the last year through cryptocurrency holdings. I think what is happening at the Department of Justice is a disgrace, Mr. Chairman, and I would urge you to gain control of this hearing. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Yeah. I would ask the gentleman, does he agree with the standing up of the Deputy Attorney General for dealing with fraud? That's something that's happened in this administration. First time. You talked about Penn. That happened with this Justice Department.
We're talking about this committee.
Mr. Chairman, had you answered the question, had the Attorney General answered the question in that way, perhaps this hearing would have some modicum of resembling something that has typically been fairly conventional, an oversight hearing of the Department of Justice.
Gentleman's
That is
time
not
has expired.
Can you confirm? Thank you, Chairman.
All kinds of things. So we will turn to the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Ms. Bonda, you go right ahead. Over here. The time is yours.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice. And you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be.
We're here. The time is yours.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice. And you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, all the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan,
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history.